Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that sometimes the men who say the least, who try the least, who explain the least, are often the ones women become the most emotionally curious about? Not the loud men, not the overly romantic men, not the men who keep proving how nice they are, but the men who move differently. Today I'm going to share 6 dirty things women secretly want men to do, but will almost never say out loud. And before your mind goes in the wrong direction, these are not sexual tricks. They are psychological behaviors. They feel dirty because they quietly shift emotional power. They trigger attraction without asking for it. They create tension without chasing it. They create safety without begging for approval. And most men never learn them. So if you want real psychological insight mixed with calm, stoic control, stay with me. And if you care about improving your emotional life and your relationships, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with me until the end, because the last one is the most dangerous and the most powerful. Dirty thing 1. Stop explaining yourself when you don't need to. Most men think emotional connection is built through explanation. They explain what they meant. They explain why they reacted. They explain their intentions. They explain their past. They explain their pain. They believe clarity creates attraction. In reality, over-explanation destroys emotional tension. Here is the uncomfortable psychological truth. When you explain yourself too much, you are not communicating. You are seeking permission to exist. And women feel that. A man who constantly clarifies himself is silently asking, "Is this okay? Am I okay? Did I say the right thing? Do you still approve of me?" Now listen carefully. Women do not secretly want men to be confusing. They secretly want men to be emotionally grounded enough that they don't panic when misunderstood. A grounded man is not afraid of being misinterpreted for a moment. He knows who he is, so when a woman challenges him, misreads him, or tests him emotionally, he does not rush to repair the emotional tension. He lets silence do its job. This is what feels dirty in psychology. You allow uncertainty to exist, and uncertainty creates emotional attention, not manipulation, not cruelty, presence. Stoicism teaches something very simple here. You do not manage other people's emotional reactions. You manage your own emotional stability. The moment you stop over-explaining, your words become heavier. Your pauses become meaningful. Your emotional center becomes noticeable, and that is extremely attractive. Dirty thing 2. Delay emotional reassurance instead of offering it instantly. Most men believe reassurance equals safety. So when a woman feels uncertain, withdraws slightly, becomes quiet, or emotionally cool, the man immediately rushes to fix it. He sends another message. He explains. He softens his tone. He lowers his boundaries. He becomes emotionally available on demand. It looks kind. It feels generous. But psychologically, it removes emotional polarity. Here is what women rarely admit. They do not want a man who collapses into emotional caretaking the moment tension appears. They want a man who can remain calm inside emotional uncertainty. That does not mean ignoring her. It means you don't emotionally kneel. You don't become reactive. You don't treat her emotional fluctuation as an emergency. Why? Because emotional leadership is not loud. It is steady. When you delay reassurance just slightly, not in a cruel way, not as a punishment, but as emotional self-regulation, you show something extremely powerful. I am safe with myself. A woman can relax around a man who does not lose emotional balance when emotions fluctuate. This is why stoic men feel grounded. They do not chase emotional peace.
They carry it.
Dirty thing 3. End conversations first and without disappearing. This one is subtle, and most men completely misunderstand it. Ending conversations first is not about playing games. It is about emotional self-respect. When a man never wants to be the first one to disengage, it signals something quietly dangerous. He has no emotional life beyond the interaction, so he lingers. He stretches conversations. He adds unnecessary messages. He looks for excuses to stay. Women feel this, not logically, emotionally. Now here's the dirty psychological shift. When you naturally end conversations while they still feel good, you create emotional closure without emotional dependency. You send one message: my life continues whether this conversation continues or not. That is not arrogance. That is identity. A man with a full emotional life does not cling to moments. He participates in them. And then he leaves them intact. This creates emotional aftertaste. Not pressure, not obligation, just presence. Stoicism is not about isolation. It is about non-attachment. And non-attachment feels deeply attractive because it feels emotionally clean. Dirty thing 4. Remain calm when she becomes emotionally unpredictable. This one separates emotionally strong men from emotionally fragile men. At some point, every woman tests emotional stability, sometimes unconsciously, sometimes playfully, sometimes through silence, sometimes through mood shifts, sometimes through subtle challenge. Here is the mistake most men make. They personalize emotional changes. They read emotional fluctuation as rejection. They react. They pull. They push. They become defensive. They try to regain emotional control. But here is the dirty thing women secretly want. They want to feel that your emotional center is not influenced by their emotional weather. Not because they want power over you, but because emotional safety is built on predictability. A man who stays calm during emotional uncertainty creates a powerful emotional signal. This space is stable. This is dark psychology in its healthiest form. Your nervous system becomes regulation for the interaction. Your calm teaches her body that nothing is wrong. That is far deeper than words. That is emotional leadership. Dirty thing 5. Hold your boundaries even when it risks emotional loss. This one hurts most men. Because deep down, many men fear one thing. If I say no, I will lose her. So they bend. They cancel plans. They adjust values. They tolerate disrespect. They ignore discomfort. They suppress opinions. They become agreeable at the cost of identity. But here is what women rarely say out loud. They do not want access to a man who does not protect his inner line. A man without boundaries is emotionally porous. Everything enters. Nothing is protected. And psychologically that feels unstable. The dirty thing women secretly respect is this. You are willing to lose emotional approval to protect self-respect. That is terrifying. But it is also deeply attractive. Stoicism teaches that your character is non-negotiable. Your peace is not for sale. When a man gently but firmly maintains boundaries, without anger, without drama, without punishment, he becomes emotionally rare, not because he withholds love, but because he does not abandon himself. Dirty thing 6. Let her come toward you emotionally, instead of pulling her. This is the one most men fail, because desire feels urgent. When a man becomes emotionally interested, he wants progression, he wants clarity, he wants direction, he wants confirmation, he wants momentum. So he subtly pulls. He escalates conversations, he pushes emotional depth, he initiates constantly, he fills silence, he accelerates intimacy. But here is the dirty psychological truth. Attraction deepens when emotional movement is voluntary, not guided, not rushed, not managed. Women secretly want space to arrive emotionally, not to be carried there. When you slow emotional escalation, when you allow emotional breathing room, when you stop steering every emotional step, you allow her nervous system to move naturally. This creates authentic desire, not compliance, not politeness, not validation-based connection, true emotional curiosity. This is pure stoicism. You allow reality to unfold without forcing outcome, the dark psychology behind all 6. Now let me connect everything. All 6 of these dirty things have one common foundation. Emotional independence, not emotional coldness, not emotional distance, not emotional unavailability, independence. You are not trying to control her emotions. You are controlling your reactions. You are not trying to secure attraction. You are building emotional integrity. You are not trying to win approval. You are protecting alignment. That is why this feels powerful. Because most attraction problems do not come from lack of charm. They come from emotional need leaking through behavior. And women feel emotional need instantly, in your voice, in your pacing, in your responses, in your hesitation, in your urgency. The Stoic man is not exciting because he is mysterious. He is exciting because he is complete. Let me tell you something important. If you remember only one thing from this entire video, remember this. Women are not attracted to control. They are not secretly looking for a man who dominates conversations. They are not drawn to a man who tries to manage their emotions. They are not impressed by a man who needs to stay one step ahead psychologically, and they are not emotionally moved by manipulation, clever tactics, or power games. They are attracted to emotional sovereignty, not dominance, not emotional force, not intimidation, not cold emotional distance. Sovereignty. And sovereignty means something very simple and very rare. The ability to remain internally whole, even when the emotional outcome is uncertain, even when the reply is late, even when the mood changes, even when attraction is unclear, even when connection feels unstable, even when you could lose the person. An emotionally sovereign man does not collapse when attention disappears. He does not inflate when attention returns. He does not become smaller when he feels challenged. And he does not become louder when he feels insecure. He remains intact. That is what emotional sovereignty actually is. It is not controlling other people. It is refusing to let other people control your nervous system. It is refusing to hand over your emotional stability to someone else's behavior. This is why dominance fails so often. Dominance still depends on reaction. Manipulation still depends on outcome. Coldness still depends on distance to feel powerful. Sovereignty depends on nothing. And that is exactly why it is felt so strongly. Because when a man can sit calmly inside uncertainty, when he can remain grounded while emotions move around him, when he can stay respectful without shrinking, and stay firm without becoming aggressive, his presence changes. And this is where most men misunderstand attraction. They think attraction is built through words, but your nervous system speaks before your mouth does. When you stop using behavior to secure emotional safety, when you stop sending messages just to feel settled, when you stop explaining just to be understood, when you stop agreeing just to avoid tension, when you stop chasing just to avoid silence, and you start using behavior to express emotional stability, everything begins to shift. Your tone changes. You speak slower, not because you are trying to sound confident, but because you are no longer rushing to protect yourself. Your posture changes. Your shoulders soften. Your body becomes still. Your movements become economical, not tense, not performative. Your pace changes. You stop forcing momentum. You stop accelerating intimacy. You stop pushing emotional depth before it is naturally ready. You allow connection to breathe. And your presence changes, not louder, quieter, heavier, more grounded, more readable, more safe. And here is the most important part. Attraction does not respond to your techniques. It responds to your emotional state. It responds to how regulated you are inside your own body. It responds to how stable you feel in uncertainty. It responds to how little you need the outcome to validate you. Because presence is not something you project. Presence is something you become when nothing inside you is trying to escape the moment. And that is what attraction actually responds to. Let me expand that for you. Slow, grounded, and powerful. Final reminder. These 6 dirty things are not tricks. They are not psychological hacks. They are not manipulation tactics. They are not lines, behaviors, or strategies designed to make someone react a certain way. They are emotional disciplines. They are the daily, invisible work of controlling your inner world before you ever try to influence the outer one. They are the discipline of staying calm when you could become reactive. The discipline of staying silent when your ego wants to explain. The discipline of standing still when your fear wants to chase. The discipline of holding your standards when loneliness tempts you to lower them. They are not strategies to get women. They are practices to stabilize yourself as a man. Because the truth most men never realize is this. Attraction does not come from doing more. It comes from needing less. It comes from not needing emotional confirmation to feel solid. Not needing constant replies to feel secure. Not needing attention to feel valuable. Not needing approval to feel worthy. When your emotional center becomes self-sustaining, your presence becomes different. You stop speaking from insecurity. You stop listening from fear. You stop acting from urgency. You start responding instead of reacting. You start choosing instead of chasing. You start standing instead of negotiating your self-respect. And ironically, the moment you stop building your identity around being wanted, the moment you stop shaping yourself to be accepted, the moment you stop performing for emotional validation, you finally become emotionally rare. You finally become calm in a world of emotional noise, stable in a world of emotional chaos, grounded in a world of emotional hunger. And that is what makes you worth choosing, not because you demanded it, but the real shift happened the moment you stopped chasing it. because you no longer needed it. You stopped trying to prove your worth through attention. You stopped measuring yourself by someone else's reactions, and without even realizing it, your presence became calmer, clearer, and more grounded. That's when attraction stops feeling like effort and starts feeling natural. If this changed the way you see attraction and emotional connection, then you're already thinking differently than most people. Because real emotional strength doesn't come from tricks or strategies, it comes from understanding yourself on a deeper level and learning how to stay steady when emotions move around you. So if you want real psychological insights that actually improve your emotional life and not surface level advice, not manipulation tactics, but genuine inner strength, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with me for more. Because the more emotionally settled you become, the less you chase connection, and the more naturally it comes to you. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.